So just while we were recording this pod, there was some massive news. Toronto Maple Leaf center and superstar Austin Matthews has signed a 4-year contract at 13.25 million average annual value. So yes, it is a no fun league. Austin Matthews will not be going to free agency, and he will end up getting paid another massive contract in 4 years. That's all, folks. Hello, and welcome back. It's been a while, and here we are for episode 30 of the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast. On behalf of myself, James Parisi, and my co-host Aiden Sarah, we are stoked to welcome you back after this brief hiatus. And speaking of my co-host, how are you doing, fella?
I'm not bad. Yeah, I mean it's been a while. We were talking just before while we were preparing to do this episode, and we were kind of like, well, if there was a month to miss, it was probably this month because we've got some contract extensions, we've got one big trade. But aside from that, it's been the slowest month of NHL news that we've seen in a little bit here. But we got a blockbuster, and I'm sure that's what we'll lead with.
I mean, yeah, exactly what we're talking about, and anyone listening knows exactly what we're talking about. Erik Karlsson to the Pittsburgh Penguins, EK65, as I affectionately refer to him, Erik. I love the guy. I am a massive Erik Karlsson fan. Um, Years of playing NHL and him being dominant, watching him absolutely rip apart playoffs, and was that 2017? Yeah, it's just I'm a massive fan of Erik Karlsson, and I will thoroughly enjoy seeing him have one of the greatest players of all time to pass to. Um, However they set up that power play is going to be very exciting. Um, I can pull up the exact trade here. It's a bit of a whopper in terms of where all the pieces go. In terms of the trade itself, what walk me through your initial thoughts, because I had just woken up and my buddy who's a diehard Penguins fan was at my apartment, and he was just like, "Oh, it happened." So my initial reaction was, "Okay, let's run through this whole thing. This is wild."
Yeah, there was a lot of moving parts. So Pittsburgh gets Erik Karlsson, Dylan Hamaliuk, who is a AHL piece as of right now, a 2026 third round pick, and Rem Pitlick from the Montreal Canadiens. Pitlick is a bottom six forward NHLer right now. That's probably his ceiling, but he's going to be an effective player for Pittsburgh. You always need those bottom six guys to fill in. Probably a guy that could step into the second power play unit if they've got some injuries. The San
I
Jose
actually don't
Sharks.
mind Rem Pitlick one bit.
No, I don't think you should be upset if he's in your bottom six. That is not a weakness for those bottom two lines at all. The San Jose Sharks get a 2024 first round pick from the Pittsburgh Penguins, Mikael Granlund, Jan Ruda, and Mike Hoffman from the Montreal Canadiens. So that is, of course, where we're going to go. It's the third team in the trade is Montreal. They get a 2025 second round pick from Pittsburgh, Jeff Petrie from Pittsburgh, who they flipped to Detroit days later. Casey DeSmith from Pittsburgh, and Nathan Laguerre from Pittsburgh. Like we've talked about it on this podcast, that my philosophy here is, who just won the Stanley Cup? The Vegas Golden Knights. What have the Vegas Golden Knights been in the last 6 years? Absolutely ruthless with their player transactions, and they have done nothing but strive to be the best team in the league. And for the Pittsburgh Penguins, I understand wanting to use the last couple of years of Crosby and Malkin's career just to try and compete. But James, and you asked for my first thought. The first thought I had of this trade is that's great. That still does not put Pittsburgh. I don't even want to say that puts Pittsburgh as a lock to make the playoffs. I don't see them as a playoff lock. And so again, and obviously they do, if they're going to try and be a Stanley Cup contender, I still think more has to happen. But you look at that Pittsburgh Penguins team, and unless they're trading first round picks years down the line, they've got nothing to give to try and get assets in return.
Just the one thing I want to be super clear on is Montreal retained no salary, none of Erik Karlsson's salary. They took 3/4 of Jeff Petry's contract. That was like the whole deal. So really, they take 3/4 of a Jeff Petry and then flip him to Detroit, get a 4th-round pick, a 2nd-round pick. Laguerre is like a fringe prospect who might make the NHL at some point. I've seen him play actually once in just a couple highlight videos, just see what he's like. Actually, not a bad player. And then Casey DeSmith, that just kind of bogs up their goaltending, and one of their goalies will get traded for another pick. So they just got a few draft picks for existing.
Yeah, I realized I was super unclear with that Pittsburgh got rid of the Petry contract in Montreal. I think I said 25%, but that was how much they didn't get. So they have 70.
Yeah, so Pittsburgh's paying Erik Karlsson 10 million of his 11.5 million, and they are retaining 1.6 million ish of Jeff Petry. So like they did dump some contracts though, like losing the Granlund contract. That one wasn't a fantastic contract.
No, and it's for a player that like I really, really, really loved Mikael Granlund as a
Yeah.
young player with the Minnesota Wild. I thought he was a superb top six center. He was one of those like he could probably be a 1B if he's your first line center, but he was one of the best second line centers in the league, was the way I saw him. He's on a $5 million ticket, and it's not just the points production that has gone down since he was traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins and in his last, couple seasons with Nashville. If you watch the guy play, his effectiveness on the ice has dwindled. He is not the same engaged player off the puck that he used to be when he was in his prime with Minnesota. He doesn't have that tenacity. He doesn't have that drive to get the puck that made him a fan favorite with the Wild. He had a couple seasons where he was right up there kissing 70 points, and he looks like a completely different guy. So for the Pittsburgh Penguins, I thought it was a mistake acquiring him, and they move him to a San Jose team where at the very least he can be a mentor to the William Eklunds as the Sharks. They'll keep him. I'm sure they won't buy him out. He has 2 years left on this deal. He'll finish off with San Jose.
And I will agree with you on your biggest point there that it's not a lock they make playoffs, but I think in getting rid of a lot of pieces that didn't help you very much and replacing those pieces with Riley Smith and Erik Karlsson, I think they are a significantly better team than they were before those two moves.
No, I don't disagree with you, but like the thing that's happening in the Eastern Conference, especially right now, is you're getting. I think it started last year a little bit, and it's going to continue this year and next year. In this 3-year period, you're going to have teams that have been so good for so long fall down, and teams that have been trying to rebuild for a while come up. I'm talking about Detroit, Ottawa, Montreal, Buffalo, especially is going to be on the upswing, and teams Pittsburgh, Washington, and Boston, who have been so strong for so long. Even the Tampa Bay Lightning are starting to, creep into that category of playoff locks that very, very quickly are not going to become playoff locks anymore. We saw Pittsburgh miss the playoffs this year for the first time in a long time. And James, I still right now have them on the outside looking in. Not only do I have them on the outside looking in, I did my predictions. I currently have them 6th in the Metro, and I'm sure we'll do predictions closer to the season. I might change that around a little bit, but this Pittsburgh team, I don't see having the legs to go the distance.
What 5 teams do you have ahead of them in the Metro?
New Jersey in first, the Rangers, the Hurricanes, and then the hot takes, Columbus and the Islanders.
I can't agree with either of those.
I have Columbus barely missing out to the Florida Panthers as the second wildcard team.
Oh, so you have Boston making playoffs.
I do. So my Atlantic is 1 Toronto. Here's the other hot take: 2 Buffalo.
What?
3 Tampa Bay, 4 Boston, 5 Florida.
Aiden, what has been going on in your brain since our last episode?
Listen, you talked about wanting to do like a best new player for this podcast, and we can do it after. I prepared a bunch of stuff just for this episode and the next couple where we do, like lead up to the season and whatnot.
Okay.
And again, like I said, I'm not going to go through everything because I still, as the rosters get solidified, I'm probably going to make some tweaks. My thinking with the Buffalo Sabres, I I've got Devin Levi in the Vezina conversation. I don't think I put him down as a finalist,
What?
but this guy is going to really turn some heads this year. I've got Tage Thompson as a Hart Trophy finalist, and I've got Rasmus Dahlin as a Norris Trophy finalist. I think this is the year for the Buffalo Sabres that you just see these guys all break out. And you know what? It was last year. Dylan Cousins was touching 70 points. You had Jack Quinn, who emerged as a solid player. JJ Paterka is only going to keep getting better. Rasmus Dahlin finally had his breakout season. Owen Power was a Calder candidate. The only thing I saw them missing was a goalie. And in Devin Levi, they have one of the most athletic and skilled goaltenders that I've seen in a long time. And I'm really, really excited to see what this team can do. And then you pair that, like I said, with the fact that the top teams in the Eastern Conference are on the downswing. The Tampa Bay Lightning were underwhelming in those playoffs last year. You saw guys that historically have dominated just not be themselves. Victor Hedman is not Victor Hedman anymore, and I think we have to start accepting
Okay,
that.
that's one-off season though. Like we can't count the guy out after just the 1 year.
Well, you know what? If he was 26 years old, I'd absolutely agree with you, but he's 32.
I know 32, but we're talking 32, not 35.
No, I know what you mean, but again, it's
We're
it's
talking an athletic freak and a creation of if you want to create your perfect hockey player and you're building it from scratch, height, physicality, skills, hockey sense, you create a Victor Hedman. I don't think it's over.
no, you know what? And they had Mikhail Sergachev take a step next year. And I do have them in the playoffs. I got them in third place in that Atlantic division. So I'm not saying that they're
Do you have any
gonna
buddies that are Tampa fans?
we went to school with our buddy Matt Klein, who's a Lightning fan. I think that's it. I don't think
You ever talked to any Tampa fans about Sergachev?
not that I can recall.
The most accurate description they ever give me is riverboat gambler.
It's funny. I can see that in his
You
game.
have zero idea what is going to happen as soon as that guy steps on the ice. Most of the time, it's great. But because he takes risks, it's frightening sometimes.
Yeah, I can see where that's coming from for sure.
But yeah, I guess we've gone off on a couple tangents here. One of the random things that popped to my mind over the course of all the info you just tossed at me is have you noticed how much the hockey media world really desperately wants Connor Hellebuck to get traded to Buffalo?
I sort of have seen, I haven't seen
Every
too much.
every mock trade done by any sports media outlet, I typically follow the Score and Sportsnet most. I it's just like they want Connor Hellebuck to Buffalo so bad, and I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I
For
think you get
what
a 1B if you're getting anything.
for the return he would command from Winnipeg, that would be quite silly for Buffalo to make that deal. Especially like I said, I have Devin Levi. I in my preparation, I had each major award with three finalists and an honorable mention. Hellebuck wasn't in my top three for the Vezina this year, and Levi was my honorable mention. So it's something that like I understand young players getting overhyped is very, very much a thing that will happen every single year. But it just feels like in Buffalo's case, they're taking these steps, and it's just 47 goals and 94 points for Tage Thompson last year. He's no joke. He's officially a dominant first line center, and he's going to be right at the front of that ship, driving it into the playoffs. And again, this is all talking about, in essence, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and we're talking about Pittsburgh. And to me, if every player stays fully healthy all year, I can see them in the playoffs. But A, how often does that happen to any team? And B, how often does that happen to a team whose primary, top 4 or 5 players are all on the wrong side of 32 years old?
I have them as like an eighth seed, maybe a seventh seed at best. Like I haven't done a full predictions on standings, but they are in my bubble of either the two teams in or two teams out. And I don't feel confident saying either because you know what? You could bet against Sidney Crosby on a not very optimal Penguins team all you want. It has only gone against him once. On suboptimal teams, he's managed to squeak into playoffs and lose in the first round multiple times. So you know what? I'm not ready to count him out. I don't have faith in Detroit for some reason whatsoever. I don't think their time is even relatively now. I love a couple of the additions they've made. I don't love a couple. I'm not going to single any of them out exactly right now because, analyzing specific teams top to bottom, that could take a while. Ottawa, I kind of like it. Their forwards confuse me. I don't know how they have a couple insane forwards. I don't know how they're sorting out their depth. I don't see a lot of guys in their bottom six that inspire grittiness and dominance. Buffalo, I like Buffalo in playoffs. I do. I really do. Columbus, I don't.
I've got Ottawa taking another step forward. I have them missing the playoffs. They need a goalie. They need a number one guy. They need Connor
It's
Help.
not. It could be Mads Sjogard. We don't know.
Yeah, and if he takes a huge step forward this year, it definitely could be. I think they'll be in the playoffs when Boston misses. They'll take that Bruins spot in the Atlantic Division. You know
Right.
what? I have the Detroit Red Wings taking a step back this year. I don't like a lot of the summer moves. I think, and you know what? Again, it's based on a gut feeling as much as anything. I think Dylan Larkin does not have the same season he's had in the last couple after signing that contract. I I don't know what is really compelling me to say that. I don't know if it's just maybe a lack of faith in Alex DeBrincat after the year he had in Ottawa. He's going to be happier in Detroit, I think, but I don't think Detroit is pushing playoffs until you've got the Simon Edvinsson, Marco Casper, Nate Danielson group kind of taking over. And obviously Larkin will be the first line center still for that group. He's young enough to still be a part of that core that's going to make that push for the playoffs. But
Sidebar, what is Marco Casper?
Marco Casper I actually think Marco Casper and Nate Danielson are going to grow and make one of the most effective second line, third line center combos for years to come.
Which one's the third liner?
Probably Casper. Detroit to me needs a first line center past Larkin, but
Really?
well, and I'm talking Stanley Cup aspirations. I don't still Larkin's 27 years old, which logically means he's got 5 years of prime left. I don't see the Red Wings as cup contenders for 4 or 5 years. I think they're young.
I think his game could last past age 32.
Definitely. And if it's him, or if Detroit are bad enough this year, maybe it's Macklin Celebrini, right? Regardless, I think any strong first line center, every team wants one. And if Detroit gets one, or if it's still Dylan Larkin with Danielson as the 2 and Casper as the 3, is really, really, really good. But I think expecting Casper to be a first line center or even a second line center behind Danielson is probably a little bit too, it's too optimistic. I think Casper and Danielson were both very safe picks as far as their slam dunk players to be NHLers, but their ceilings aren't high, right? I think their ceilings are second line center, middle six center for both of them. And I love Danielson. I was his biggest fan all year. And I kind of felt vindicated when he went in the top 10 because I had him super high and everybody kind of told me I was stupid, but
But you were smart. Did you pat yourself on the back? Like actually?
I was very fired up.
Maybe like the little dirt off your shoulder thing?
Because I had gone to so many games for both to watch him and to watch Braden Yeager, and I could not understand why so many people had Yeager above him. And
but you still like Yeager.
I don't mind Yeager at all. I think he's going to be an effective second line center as well. But I just saw Danielson as clear of him all year, and eventually that feeling was corroborated by at least Steve Yzerman.
Yes, my Penguins fan friend looks forward to collecting Braden Yeager's hockey cards.
So yeah, Montreal does flip Jeff Petrie to the team we were just talking about, the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit's back end is very interesting. I don't like Justin Hall as a hockey player. I think.
Do you like Jake Wallman? I feel like I haven't seen Jake Wallman play since his brief few games in St. Louis.
Yeah, I think 6-7.
And by brief few games, I mean like isn't that a complete season of barely playing? But like it felt like he barely played.
Yeah, I don't mind him as a bottom pairing guy, but it seems like they've clogged it up for Edvinsson to again not make the team. Simon Edvinsson was a 6th overall pick or something. Like this guy needs to get in there. And I like him. He's a good puck moving defenseman. He's very smart. He's a smooth skater, and
Is
he's
that why they have Jake Wallman in that spot? So they can like be like, oh well, if Edvinsson has a really good camp.
yeah. But they also got Justin Hall, Jeff Petrie, and they got Ben Sherratt last summer. It just seems like
Yeah.
that defense core is, and I get, yeah, they traded Philip Hronik to Vancouver, but yeah, to me, it's just that defense core seems like it's just getting clogged up, and I don't really understand why they're putting those blocks in place for their young players. Because again, I just I think Tyler Bertuzzi was a very important player for them, just in terms of the the drive he brought. I think he did a good job of leading by example as far as other
Definitely.
players built off his effort level. And again, I like Larkin as a player. I have a similar feeling towards Dylan Larkin that I do to Clayton Keller, where it's the all the skill in the world factor. It's just the if you if you took an element of of even like the Tyler Bertuzzi and put it into Larkin or Keller, they would be this unstoppable force. It's just that it's, and you know what? It's for lack of a better term, it's just that it's the dog in him factor. It's the when there's a loose puck in the corner, Dylan Larkin, it's you're never 100% sure it's Dylan Larkin's puck. And with Tyler Bertuzzi, you knew he was going to fish that puck out. You knew that every single shift he wasn't going to get worked. And I just for Detroit, I feel like they've got a bunch of guys, Larkin, even Alex DeBrincat to an extent. I feel the same way about him, where it's a bunch of very talented players that need to mesh together, and I'm just not bought. I'm not sold on the fact that that team is going to come together this season. I think it's coming because the talent both in the pipeline and on the roster is undeniable. But I think the rest of the Atlantic Division is taking a bigger step forward than them, or the teams that are taking a step back haven't taken a far enough step back for Detroit to pass them.
I have a thought. We keep saying all these teams are coming. They're all taking steps forward. They're all on their way, but you know, you look back at years past when multiple bad teams are all building at the same time, some of them never make it.
Well, the Vancouver Canucks is a good example, right? Like
Totally.
they
Totally.
were in the rear view mirror for a while, and again, this is the best that Pettersson and Hughes look like they've ever been. Kuzmenko scored almost 40 goals last year, but still, like I think I had Vancouver in the playoffs, but if I did, yeah, they were wild card two ahead of Calgary, and that's a toss up for me. Of Vancouver, Calgary 8-9, like it's
Like, did Florida not build for 15 years straight at one point?
well, they did, and they became. I mean, they made the Stanley Cup final last year, right? And it was they did come, but it's yeah, it's well, and it's the Buffalo Sabres until now. Buffalo, I don't, I cannot recall.
Buffalo's been through like four different rebuilds in my no, three different rebuilds in my hockey watching lifetime. They were sick when I started watching hockey. They were sick up until I was probably like 13.
Yeah, they had just kind of fallen off when I remember starting, and yeah, it's you're at the point where I think the perfect storm. We're in the middle of it in the Eastern Conference of the like the Pittsburgh and Washington missing the playoffs this year is the sign of change coming. We'll see exactly we'll see exactly what
I think this change is going to be very gradual.
well I like I said, I think it's happening over 3 years. I think
Okay,
last year was the
okay, I can
start of
take
it.
that.
I think this year is the second part of it, and next year we'll see Ottawa pass Boston, right? I think that's
Find me two top six centers, and Boston can stay in the playoffs.
yeah. Well, and
But how? But tell me any team that's very quickly found two top six centers.
that's the difficult part for the Bruins, and not to mention like much like the Pittsburgh Penguins, because Boston's been so good for so long, they lack the assets to really make a splash in a trade, right? They lack the young players in the pipeline. Fabian Lysell is probably their number one
They have
prospect.
that Lurai kid.
Yeah, it's a bunch of
He's
B
okay.
prospects. It's a bunch of B prospects, and B prospects sometimes hit,
Yeah.
but I'm not a huge Fabian Lysell fan at all, man. And I just
Some
I
people really are. Some people are very high on him. I
I
hear
know.
such differing opinions all the
You know
time.
what? It's the same thing for me with Lysell that I was just talking about with DeBrincat, where I see so much skill in the guy. It's just like, can you can you go on the ice with the right mindset, and can you be what you need to be both off the puck and defensively to be a good NHL player? Um,
He
because
doesn't feel like a Bruin at all.
oh no, he's the complete opposite. Like when Tyler Bertuzzi got traded there, that's a Bruin, right? Lysell isn't. We're still kind of on number two because we talked a little bit about Petrie. Jonathan Taves won't play hockey this year. We know that now. He doesn't want to retire yet. He has not announced his retirement. He hopes to come back next season, but he's not going to play this year. And this is really now, there's nobody left in Chicago, right? We are very, very much now this is the fully rebuilding, no real semblance of the dynasty, no real signs that nothing left of what once was with the Chicago Blackhawks organization.
Is their longest tenured player right now not Connor Murphy?
I think so. I was thinking about that. I was trying to think if anybody else was really left.
I think it's Connor Murphy.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
And the Chicago Blackhawks, like James, this draft, obviously Connor Bedard. Like we don't need to say how effective and how impactful Connor Bedard's going to be to the organization. Listen, man, Oliver Moore
Is filthy.
he's disgustingly good. There is no reason 18 picks were made ahead of him. I still cannot fathom that. Like if you've listened to this podcast, you know, like he was in our top 10 or he was 11th, I think, on ours. And I didn't think he would get to 11. That was a little bit wishful thinking because Vancouver was there. Our buddy Jeremy had him at 5. Like this is a guy that everybody looked at as the stud, and then it just went pick after pick.
Why did everyone pass on him? That's all I want to know. What do you think he interviewed badly? Like I just want to know.
I haven't heard much. You know, like you have
We're in his central scouting rankings, like early 10s, like
yeah,
12
no,
or something.
they were well ahead of where he went, and you'll get some of the guys ahead of him, and I think honestly, James, everybody kind of had a different factor where you can go down the list. Well, Montreal at 5, which is the earliest he probably ever would have gone. Right-handed defenseman Ryan Bacher, Arizona. The whole draft, Arizona just drafted for size. I've never seen a team so blatantly drafting like 6'2" players and above. They draft a big defenseman Simashev at 6. They draft a big winger Daniel Boot at 12, which to me that's my worst pick of the first round. Philadelphia takes Mishkov at 7. That was the right pick. Ryan Leonard is a bulldog. He's a very tenacious player. He has a lot of upside. Washington 8, nothing wrong with that. Detroit takes Danielson at 9. Again, I have no problem with that. That's a very, very high floored player where he's 100% going to be an effective NHLer. I think Oliver Moore has a higher ceiling. Dvorsky to St. Louis at 10. Again, you're drafting a big center with size. Tom Wielander to Vancouver at 11, right-handed defenseman. Zach Benson at Buffalo at 13. To me, again, I love Benson. That's a fine.
Benson at 13 is ridiculous.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that to me. And yeah, I think he should have been a top 10 pick, no doubt. Jaeger at 14, I don't understand it. Moore is twice the player Jaeger is in my head. Likewise with Matthew Wood at 15.
But Jaeger, people swing for the prospective high ceiling, right?
Well, and that was the swing with Matthew Wood to Nashville at 15. Matthew Wood was a total point machine in the NCAA this season. He looks very NHL ready. But you know what, man? If you watch him, his skating is not at an NHL level. And so many of his points came when he was stationary on the power play. He is not yet at the level where he can use his body and use his footwork to produce points at the NHL level. And then you've got Samuel Honsack at 16, Axel Sandin Pellikka 17 to Detroit, Colby Barlow 18 to Winnipeg, and then finally Moore 19 to Chicago. So Chicago, Bedard's going to step in right away. Oliver Moore has, he's going to have at least next year without a doubt. I'm going to go out and say he's at the University of Minnesota for another year after that, but then he steps in. Bedard and Moore is going to be a disgusting 1-2. That is going to be a better first, second line center combo than they won every Stanley Cup with.
I was running through all of their second line centers in my head. I think my favorite one was Brad Richards.
Yeah, and it was a Brad Richards, I'm not saying Oliver Moore.
Patrick Kane, Brad Richards.
Well, I'm not saying Moore is going to be better than prime Brad Richards, but the Richards that won the cup in Chicago was well past his prime. It was still an effective player, don't get me wrong.
Still won that cup though.
Yeah, but it was a late 30s Brad Richards, man, he's got to be one of the most underrated players of that generation. He was so
Yep.
good.
Yep. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I was a huge Brad Richards fan. I still remember if you went back and played the like late 2000s, early 2010s NHL games, if you lucked out, you could get both Brad Richards and Eric Stahl in free agency in a couple year span. And I just remember I would pick a terrible team and just hope that I could get both of them. That was my goal. But yeah, I really like Oliver Moore and I want to see more of him, no pun intended. Where's he he's going to college next year, right?
Yeah, University of Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Do they have a stacked roster coming in? Are they one of those? Are they
They're
loaded
going to have a good team. University of Minnesota always has a good team.
Yeah. And that's Minnesota Duluth?
Yeah, because Mankato is always
Yeah.
defined as Mankato.
Yeah.
So quickly before we talk about some other contracts, quick Canuck corner for you. Elias Pettersson apparently reportedly not in a rush to sign an extension, which this is, at least he's not a UFA, but the longer this goes on, the more, the more kind of worry there is. um, like I think he's earned a $10 million ticket without a doubt. 102 points last year, one of the best two-way forwards in the league. I think if you're Vancouver, you got to get it done as fast as possible. Um, there's nowhere to go but up for this guy, especially with Kuzmenko on his wing. Yeah. Speaking of Canucks centers, they do sign Pia Suter. I love it. I love it a lot. I didn't think Teddy Bluger was good enough to be their third line center. That was the guy they signed first in free agency. I really like Bluger as a fourth line center. I just didn't see him as good enough as to fill the top 9 spot. I loved Pia Suter in Chicago in his rookie year. It was the COVID, the COVID shortened season on the front end where everything started late and it was whatever the 50 some games. He had 14 goals, 27 points in 55 games. 36 points in 82 games with Detroit the next season. Took a little step back with the Red Wings, but again, for $1.6 million, I'm taking this and I'm laughing. This is an effective third line center who can play both ends of the ice, who can put up some points, second power play unit, and yeah, I like it a lot. I think the Canucks are in a solid spot. Like I said, I referred to it earlier. I think it's between them and Calgary and Seattle for those two of those three teams are going to be the last two wildcard teams the way I'm looking at it because the LA Kings are taking a big step forward this year with Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Okay, quick run through. Love the Suter signing. I think it's great. I think it's solid maneuver. It would be very Canucks fan like to have a mind-boggling freak out just from seeing Pettersson quote unquote not in a rush. There's lots of time. It'll be okay. I really don't worry about him very much. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the Suter signing is nice. I have Vancouver as a fringe team, as per usual. Maybe not in that 7 to 10 spot, maybe in the 8 to 10 spot. I have them battling it out to the bitter end, but it wouldn't be, I don't know. I hesitate to say this because I don't want to make anyone sad, but it wouldn't be a Canucks season without one monumental losing streak that just pisses everyone off and makes everyone question the direction of life.
Yeah, I hope it's not at the beginning of the year this time. That's probably my only request because
I totally agree. I'm sick of that storyline. I really don't enjoy it.
That was hard. Especially like how many games in a row it was losing the lead.
Yeah.
So we got both some free agent signings and some re-signings, or I should say not both. There's one free
Extensions.
signing. Yeah, extensions. But Vladimir Tarasenko to the Ottawa Senators. We were talking about Ottawa. His name didn't come up. I like it a lot. Supplement that top 6. I think him plus Dominic Kubalik will equal what Alex DeMrincat would have produced. I truly believe that. I think Tarasenko 20-25 goal upside, Dominic Kubalik 15-20 goal upside. Put that together. I didn't see Alex DeBrincat hitting 40 in Ottawa next year. But you've also got Drake Batherson, who's going to take a step forward. The biggest wild card on this team, James, is Josh Norris. I had him pegged for 40 last year. He got hurt right at the beginning of the year.
What about Pinto Beans?
I like Shane Pinto a lot. He's going to be the third line center, but I think he could be a really effective third line center, score 40 points easily. But to me, it's Norris. I think this whole team, you're going to have Tim Stützle getting another point per game season. You're going to have Batherson up there, 70 points. Brady Tkachuk is going to get close to point per game. You've got Jacob Chikrin on the back line now to supplement Thomas Chabot and to supplement Jake Sanderson. So to me, is Josh Norris he scored 36 goals in 60 some games the year before he got hurt. Is Norris going to break out? Is he gonna score 40 goals and be just another threat? Because this Ottawa team, if like Tkachuk and Stützle took big steps forward, if Batherson and Norris follow this year, and even if you have Vladimir Tarasenko, like I said, 25 goals and a 15-goal Dominic Kubalik and a Shane Pinto to score 40 points, that's still a lot of offense that's coming out. And the defense gets better. I think they're a goalie away from being a lock playoff team. And if it's Sogard, it's Sogard.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Yeah, that's a solid rundown. I'm very, very, very curious to see how Tarasenko produces, and more interestingly, who he plays with. Because with that Ottawa top six, it's always interesting to see how these guys are going to line up. Is it going to be some combination of like Giroux, Stützle, Tkachuk, Norris, Batherson?
I think
I don't know.
I think he ends up with Tkachuk and Stützle. And then you see Giroux play with Norris and Batherson, and then Shane Pinto with Kubalik and Matthew Joseph on that third line.
Yeah, and I don't hate that. I don't at all. It sounds nice, but I wonder how long they put their lines in a blender. Like, like when do they find it? Because that was the big thing for me last year.
Well, and we should say they did sign Jonas Korpisalo, right? So we're talking about Sjogard as their backup. I think Sjogard beats out Anton Forsberg for the number 2 spot. Korpisalo is a guy that's super hit or miss, but if he hits, right? And all of a sudden the Senators have themselves a real goaltender.
Okay, well, there's one more. There's a few more extensions for us to talk about, but there's one that I really, really want to get to because this one in my group chat with my buddies inspired some debate. My perspective, I will give you after. Tom Wilson, 7 times 6.5 in Washi. What do you got?
I don't love it. He's a valuable player, but 7 years is starting after this season, so he's going to be paid $6.5 million until he's 37 years old on a team that right now, if they traded him, probably could have got a significant amount back. And I think that's the route they should have gone. Washington is a team to me that's currently kind of in the same vein as Pittsburgh, except they're worse by a lot. I don't see much good in that team right now. You've got Ovechkin, who's good for 40 goals. You've got Dylan Strome there, who's going to get between 50 and 60 points. Evgeny Kuznetsov, it seems like his time there has come to an end, so we're just kind of waiting for him to get traded. But this isn't a team to me that's going to be competitive. This is a team that is going to win some games because some top-end talent is going to score. And I think Tom Wilson would have been much better suited to Washington having been traded and getting something back, because they don't have a lot of guys that they're going to be able to trade for. Like, I don't think they're going to get as much for Kuznetsov as they would have got for Wilson, to be honest with you. And I think paying a guy $6.5 million until he's 37 years old is going to backfire immediately, especially on a team that isn't win now or win soon.
See, I knew that's exactly the route you were going to go.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm stoked to give my point of view.
Okay.
All right, well, point number 1. Tom Wilson is a fan favorite. When Ovechkin retires, you got to have someone around that the fans actually care about. That is massive. Someone has to keep fans in the seats, keep fans watching, keep fans buying jerseys, keep fans just engaged with the team in some sense. Washington's going to need a captain after Ovi. Who but Tom Wilson? A fan favorite, A guy everybody just loves. A guy people love to talk about, a guy people love to hate. Okay, point number 3. Salary cap is slated to continually go up. You know, back half of that contract, considering what else Washington will probably have on that roster, I really, really don't care about 6.5 million in Tom Wilson's pocket. In fact, I think it's money well spent to have someone to come teach the young guys as they roll in. Considering the rough and tumble prospect they picked in this year's draft, I think Tom Wilson is the perfect mentor for him.
Yeah, and if it was not 7 years, I wouldn't dislike it as much. And you know what? The salary cap going up is going to be a big, big plus for the Anaheim Ducks, who get Troy Terry done 7x7. Again, if you look at his last 2 seasons, you can kind of make the case that it justifies $7 million. He would have been close. 67 points in 75 games, and then 61 points in 70 games. Keep in mind that first season, 67 points was in the form of 37 goals. He only had 23 last year. But this is a guy that's going to be a top 6 forward for the Ducks for 7 years now. And I think at the end of this contract, he's 25 years old. When he's 30, 31, 32, 33, it's going to age pretty well. I like this player. I think he's good in everything you can ask of him. He does a good job at everything you require of him. He will excel. And for me, with the Anaheim Ducks, you've got Leo Carlsson coming. You've got Trevor Zegras still there, Mason McTavish. It looks good, and I like it a lot for them. And I think much like the next 2 or 3 contracts we're going to talk about, it's one that's going to age because of the salary cap increase. Sebastian Aho, 8 years, $9.75 million a season.
Was there ever any doubt that this contract was going to get signed and it was going to be around this much money?
No, this is exactly what he deserves and exactly what you'd expect it to be. Sebastian Aho is a first-line center. He's very good at everything. He scores. He passes the puck well. He's smart. He's good two-way. He's good without the puck. He's excellent. I love him. 38 goal career high, came in just 68 games in 1920. Had a slight regression on points last year, just 67 in 75 games. But keep in mind that was quite a tumultuous season for the Carolina Hurricanes as far as the injuries that forward core had. I think you can count on him to be a point per game player. And to me, this is great for Carolina, who's going to contend for the next few years with him leading the ship.
Honestly, like I can't even find anything relatively interesting to say about this contract. It's exactly what it should be, and it's exactly what we expected.
Here's a contract that kind of came out of nowhere to me. Brandon Hagel, 8 years at $6.5 million a season with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He had a great year. He had a phenomenal season.
And before he got traded to Tampa the year before, he was having a really, really solid rookie season. He was on pace for 30 before he got traded to Tampa and didn't have a carved out role.
Sophomore, but yeah, he was
that one, yeah.
30 goals, 64 points in 81 games last year. I would have liked to see another year. I think this is a gamble for the Lightning because he was
this is the Tampa method.
Yeah,
this is what they do.
Yeah, I know. He was an RFA after this season, after 23-24. So if he has another 30 plus goal, 65 plus point season, you're probably paying him more than 6.5 million bucks. So it's just going to be, like we're guessing about this guy. He's 24 years old. So even then, this takes him till he's 32. You saw Tampa Bay sign Nick Paul to a long-term deal. They're locking up some guys that they want to have continuing on with this team. And, I don't hate it, but I think the real test is just how this goes this year, because if Brandon Hagel has a 20 goal, 40 point season, you probably could have got him for a lot cheaper when his contract expires next summer. If he goes out, he scores 40, 40, 80, suddenly 6.5 million bucks looks like a massive, massive bargain.
You know what? It caught me off guard. I will say it really did, especially because, there's that whole tax situation there where I thought they maybe could have got him a little bit cheaper, maybe. Like I don't like that that could translate to, I don't know, like maybe even like up to 7.5 in a different market. And like is Are we now saying Brandon Hagel's worth 7.5? Maybe he is worth 7.5 to the average team. I don't know. It's hard to say. But the thing I kind of see with it is they really liked what they saw down the stretch. And when some of their top guys may have gone cold, he was consistently Brandon Hagel. So I don't dislike it. I don't love it. It's kind of just a contract to me. It's there. The next one we're going to talk about, though, I really like that one. Take it away, Aiden.
It's weird. I was very shocked that Vince Dunn only signed a 4-year contract. It's 4 years at $7.35 million, kind of much like Hagel. This is a guy who's had solid seasons but broke out last year, 14 goals and 64 points in 81 games with the Seattle Kraken. He's 26 years old. I did not expect him to sign a 4-year contract until he was 30, right? Like at 30 years old, is he going to be able to cash in again? That's the one thing I always think when I see these guys sign short-term contracts. My thought immediately goes to, well, are you going to then on your next deal get money again, right? Like I think $7 million on an 8-year contract was what I expected for him. And like I like the number for Seattle for a guy that will be probably one of their top 2 defensemen for years, or for 4 years at least. But it was a little odd to me that he only got 4 years. What do you think?
Which side do you think wanted the 4 years? Because I think he did. I think he looked at what like these guys are calculated. Their agents are very calculated. What does the defense market look like in 4 years? I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's totally valid. I think if you go that way though, you go 2 or 3, right? Like is 30 years old the time to really be like, okay, that's when I'm going to get a big contract?
Yeah, look how much money gets thrown at 32-year-olds on free agent frenzy day.
I know, no, I know, but it's less now than it used to be, right? Like it's the trend is we're trending away from that a little bit.
We're trending away from that because of the current cap situation.
Yeah, and that's absolutely the case, and it's something that will, the league's going to adapt to more money being available for sure.
I don't think it's going to adapt as much as we all keep talking about it adapting. Like a couple million here and there isn't going to change everything.
No, it's not. We're going to need to see a significant jump, which the next CBA will be big. So we'll move on here. James and I talked about James pitched to me that we do a rookie, a team that we think will be impactful. And I told him that I don't think that every team will have a rookie we can do. So we're going to go best new player per team, or new player we think will have the biggest impact on their team. This is just for this season. So for the Washington Capitals, it's not, for the Philadelphia Flyers, it's not Matt Michkov. For the Washington Capitals, it's not Ryan Leonard. For Montreal, it's not David Reinbacher. We're just talking the best new player as far as what the impact will be on their respective teams. Do you want to go alphabetically?
Yeah, I think alphabetically is the best way to go. I'll let you take it away.
All right, Anaheim Ducks. It's an easy one for me because I do think Leo Carlsson makes this team. He's a rookie. Yeah, I think Leo Carlsson ends up in the top 6 for the Anaheim Ducks. I think if he plays with Trevor Zegras, everybody's going to very quickly realize that Carlson's going to center that line. I've said this on this podcast before. I think Trevor Zegras is an exceptionally talented player. I don't think he's a centerman. I think he's a winger, because as a centerman, you need to do something A, off the puck, and B, in your own zone. And I've never seen Trevor Zegras do anything in either of those situations. So I think Zegras will benefit having Carlsson as a center, and Troy Terry will benefit playing with the 2 of them.
I mean, on my end for Anaheim, I actually think it's Alex Killorn. I think with the leadership and experience he's going to bring in there, and kind of the calming presence for a team that's going to be seemingly in the basement yet again, I think the intangibles he brings to this roster is more valuable than just about anything else that can come in.
Arizona's easy. It's Logan Cooley. I think Logan Cooley is going to be. I don't
It's
think.
Logan Cooley. I completely agree. I can't even say anything that you're not gonna say.
Well, I don't think he's going to play on the first line. I think we're going to see Clayton Keller play the wing, much like Barrett Hayton, or sorry, much like Trevor Zegras. Clayton Keller is a winger, but he's going to play with the aforementioned Barrett Hayton and Nick Schmaltz, I think. And then you'll see Cooley. I think a Machelli, Cooley, Dylan Gunther second line is gross. I think that's really cool, and I think that's what we're going to end up seeing. We'll get their veterans in the bottom six in Arizona. Yeah, the Coyotes are interesting. They're intriguing because after that draft they just had, I don't want to praise them too much because I do think I like the Simashev pick. I thought the Daniel Boot pick was stupid. But I think they'll be okay. I'm interested to see how this goes. What do you have for Boston? Because I know you said you have Cooley for Arizona.
Um, Boston, it's very situational just because I don't know who else is going to be able to make an impact. I think Morgan Geeky is going to prove to be more valuable than just about anything else they've acquired. Just because of the holes they have at center. I think like there's a slight chance he can play up. This is a gamble, but maybe.
I had two names. I was just gonna talk about the one you didn't talk about. One of them was Morgan Geeky. The other one was Jesper Boqvist. Boqvist is a pretty talented player. He didn't really get a chance to break out in Arizona or in New Jersey. Sorry. Pavel Zacha, Charlie Coyle, Morgan Geeky, Jesper Boqvist. That four centers could really be arranged in any way. Coyle and Zacha could still play the wing, right? So we'll see how this goes in Boston. It's a massive question. Everything in Boston's a massive question mark this year. What do you have for the Buffalo Sabres?
For the Buffalo Sabres, what I have is very similar to what I said for the Anaheim Ducks. I'm going Eric Johnson. His experience and leadership and personality is invaluable, and I think what he can teach mentally and physically in terms of just training and bringing professionalism to the table is going to prove to be a massive benefit for that very young decor. Former first overall pick, and things didn't really go very first overall pick like, but he was still a serviceable NHL player for a long time. And yeah, I think he's going to be able to teach these guys a lot of lessons about what it means to be a pro.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about him already. I have Devin Levi. I think he fills a hole for the Buffalo Sabres. I think he's a very, very talented player, very, very steady, calm. I can't say enough good things about him. I I think it's a slam dunk for the Sabres. Other than Levi, I'd say Connor Clifton for similar reasons, but I just think Clifton's going to play higher in the lineup. I think you're going to see Matthias Samuelsson with Dahlin and then Clifton play with Power. And I think Clifton's a good partner for Power. I think that fits really well. For the Calgary Flames, I have an interesting one because Calgary is kind of all over the place. You got Matt Coronado coming in, but honestly, James, this is going to be a bold take. I actually think by the end of the season, we're going to have Dustin Wolf as the starting goaltender for the Calgary Flames. Jakob Markstrom's been very inconsistent during his tenure with Calgary. I think Dan Vladar is going to get traded at some point before the season to a team that really needs a goalie that can be a 1A or a 1B. And I think Wolf ends up getting that spot. And if he plays anything close to the way he played in the AHL last year, you're going to have something significant. Matt Coronado, for the rookie side of it, would be the obvious choice. He signed out of college and he'll probably get a top 9 role with this Calgary Flames team, who lost to Foley for Sharangovich, who will be a good player. I just don't see Sharangovich's ceiling being too high.
I'm taking Coronado. I think his playing style could really mesh with an Elias Lindholm or you know, like think about it. If Coronado ends up on a line with Huberdeau and or Lindholm, this could be like a sneaky like fringe Calder kind of guy. Obviously not going to win it, but like could end up a nominee.
Well, in a normal year, I'd agree with you. There's too many good rookies this year, though. Like, there's a lot of guys. For the Carolina Hurricanes, I have Michael Bunting. This is a guy, again, like the Carolina Hurricanes need some wingers in that top 6. And I think Seth Jarvis is going to take the step that he was supposed to take last year, this year. And then I think Bunting ends up filling out that top 6 winger spots. It'll be Jarvis, Necas, Svechnikov, and Bunting. And I think Michael Bunting fits in well. He's a Hurricane to me, and I think he'll excel there.
I kind of want to cheat for this one. I'm picking a healthy Andrei Svechnikov
Yeah, that's valid.
because they didn't have that and in the playoffs, and that was needed in the playoffs. And I think a healthy Andrei Svechnikov is the biggest thing that they could pick up.
Do we need to do Chicago?
Yes, yes, we do.
Okay, it's Connor Bedard. Like
Okay, no. Okay, can we do Chicago without Bedard?
Chicago without Bedard. I didn't really prepare for that, but go then, I guess.
Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall and Connor Bedard are just going to pass it back and forth, and then eventually it's going to tap into the net. It's going to be nice, and then one of them is going to just have a nice little shot. I think if Hall can maybe get a little bit of that foot speed back, he's not a slow skater by any means right now, but I think if I think if he can get an extra step back, I think him playing with Bedard would be awesome.
Well, and you know what's interesting about you saying that? In the preparation for not just this episode, but for things we can talk about going into the season, by the way, as we are going to try and do once a week episodes going forward. I did a list of breakout candidates, and my Chicago Blackhawk breakout candidate is Lucas Reichel, because I think he is going to really excel on that top line on the right with Taylor Hall on the left and Connor Bedard down the
Totally,
middle.
totally.
I think that line is that line is going to emerge very quickly as a very, very serious threat. For the Colorado Avalanche, your Colorado Avalanche, it's that second line center spot that really, to me, I'm looking at that team and I'm thinking it's up for the take. And I think Ross Colton is going to seize that. Ross Colton is a guy for the Tampa Bay Lightning that was very, very good in all situations. Stepped in, kind of was in the shadow of some superstars there. I think Nathan MacKinnon and Jonathan Drouin as a reunion on that first line is going to be very interesting. But I think Colton ends up on the second line with Lehkonen and Valeri Nichushkin in the absence of Gabriel Landeskog.
Or Mikko Rantanen. They split up Rantanen and MacKinnon a lot.
Yeah, I did have Rantanen as the one RW, and if between Rantanen and Nichushkin, they're both capable in both those spots. But I think Ross Colton ends up beating out Ryan Johansson for the second line center spot. I fully believe that.
Well, if you talk to diehard Avalanche fans, this is not off the board whatsoever. If you talk to normal people or just regular hockey fans, this one's way off the board. Nikolai Kovalenko. He is Colorado's top prospect, almost without a doubt. At 22 years old, his 22 turning 23 season in the KHL, he put up 54 points in 56 games. He's the son of former NHLer Andrei Kovalenko, and if you watch his stats, highlights, he's absolutely filthy, just insanely talented, and he has a contract to come to Colorado after the KHL season.
Okay, this isn't like news to me that this guy exists at all. I didn't expect him all year there, so I didn't put him. I kind of in the back of my head had him as like a sneaky Calder candidate for next year. So I get it, but I just don't like he's not playing all season, so I wasn't gonna do that.
I think just like him showing up like 15, 20 games before playoffs. Oh man. Like that's all I can think about right now.
So for the Columbus Blue Jackets, like
there's a lot of options.
well, and I kind of have like sort of a bone to pick with Kekalainen right now. I don't know. To me, I feel the very same way towards Columbus's defense core as I did towards Detroit's, where like I
except that they're a lot better.
yes, I love David Jiricek. I think if David Jiricek had the opportunity this year to be the number one guy in Columbus, I think he would be a slam dunk Calder finalist. I think the top three of the Calder would be far and away Bedard, Levi, Jiricek. Like I love this kid. I think he's phenomenal at everything. He's offensively gifted. He's great in transition, both offensive transition and breaking up plays defensively. He's fantastic in his own zone. He's a one-man breakout. Anytime he gets the puck in the corners or behind his own net, there's never a mistake. I love, love, love this player so much, but Werenski, Severson, Provorov, Peak, Goodbranson, Boqvist, Bean are 7 NHL defensemen not named David Jiricek on this team already. And they just went out and got Severson and Provorov. So it's not like those guys aren't going to be in the top 3 with Werenski. Goodbranson is making way too much money not to play. And you've got an Adam Boqvist that you're kind of looking at. It's now or never for him. So I just don't see Jiricek getting the chance this year. So I have to go Adam Fantilli. I think Adam Fantilli will be a top six center without a doubt in my mind. He'll finish the season between Gaudreau and Laine, and I think that situation for him is going to be superb. He proved in the NCAA that he plays an NHL ready game. The guy's a bulldog. The guy's talented. He's a hard worker. He's good on both ends of the puck. And honestly, Columbus, I know I said it. I think between that strong defense and a sneaky good top six, they're coming faster than people realize.
I agree with pretty much everything you just said. And I hope it's Fantilli because I will be picking him in fantasy. I trade for a very high pick in my draft. And because I have a keeper league and I need to reinvigorate the fellas. And I'm going a different route. I think I think having two extremely solid D pairs that can play against teams' top players every night is extremely effective. And I think a top of his game, I like refresh Ivan Provorov is worth a lot. I think that is very good. It remains to be seen whether we're going to get that in Columbus. Like if we're going to see that first few years of Ivan Provorov as a pro. I hope we see it. I really hope we do because that guy has immense talent and drive. It's just like it kind of fizzled out at the end in Philly.
Ivan Provorov could be one of the top three best defensemen in the NHL or one of the worst defensemen you've ever seen play. And it can change from one shift to the next. And it's so all over the place. So I think it completely depends what version of Provorov will consistently show up for the Columbus Blue Jackets. For Dallas, there's not a lot of options. There's really only a couple. And I think you kind of have to say it's going to be Matt Duchene. Like Wyatt Johnston is obviously their rookie last year, and he's probably the most likely to take another huge step forward. Duchene supplements what is a very strong top nine to me. Like Joe Pavelski's still going, and that it's an old forward core. And it's Jamie Benn, Evgeny Dadonov, Tyler Seguin, Joe Pavelski, and Matt Duchene in that top nine are all not young players. But I think it's going to be valuable for the Dallas Stars to have Duchene in a middle six role where he can step in on the power play and he can step up when there's the inevitable injuries that are going to come with the
He's
season.
a killer face-off man, and his skating hasn't lost a step either. So
No, and this is a guy that I didn't really understand the buyout for. Yeah, he only had 56 points in 71 games last year. He's 1 year removed from a career high 43 goals, 86 points with the Nashville Predators. I didn't really understand the buyout. I like it for Dallas. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think he will end up really, really helping that secondary scoring on that team.
I think if Logan Stankoven ends up making the team out of camp and plays on a third line role, I think that is a nice boon for that team and spreads out your scoring quite a bit. So I'm going to say him if he makes the team.
Yeah,
which I'm like 40% sure he will. Like I'm not super confident.
Yeah, I did think about that. I love him, but I think he's going to take an extra year because A, the Stars forward core is too strong, and B, when you have a guy that's that small, you want him to get as pro ready as possible before you put him in the big leagues. So I think because Dallas is so strong, there's not going to be a rush, and because Stankoven doesn't have that NHL frame, you're going to want him to get accustomed to the AHL before he goes to the NHL. That's the way I kind of view that.
Totally. And if he doesn't make it, I'm going Duchene easy. I'm a huge Matt Duchene fan.
Yeah. For the Detroit Red Wings, again, I talked about it already. Detroit's defense is like we talked about Petrie and Hall and Sherratt and Wallman. They also got Shane Gostisbehere. So Simon Edvinsson, just I don't know why there doesn't seem to be a desire to have him play ever, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. So I guess it's going to be Alex DeBrincat. That's a pretty easy one. They obviously also got JT Compher for a big ticket. They got Klim Kostin in a trade with the Oilers. Daniel Sprong put up a sneaky 20 goals last year. But I think DeBrincat playing with Larkin and Raymond, that has the potential. Alex DeBrincat he scored 40 goals a couple times. I think he has the potential to absolutely explode on that line. And if it's not going to be Edvinsson as the rookie, then I guess it does have to be DeBrincat for sure.
I would love for it to be Edvinsson as the rookie, but I think they've clogged it up too much, as we've said. Unless Jake Wallman is just a stopgap and he's going to get flipped, which is very possible. Um, no, but I'm going JT Compher. I think having depth up the middle and a strong center for young wingers to end up playing with, I think that's a really solid benefit.
For the Edmonton Oilers, I'm going to take Connor Brown. I think Zach Hyman, Connor McDavid, and Connor Brown on that first line. Like, I think Brown could really, like, he could be pretty much exactly what Hyman is, where it's just you do the right things, and because you're playing with Connor McDavid, it will end well for you. And for me, I really, really liked Connor Brown. He's had a lot of unlucky injuries and a lot of just things that haven't gone his way in the last couple of years. But this is a guy who scored 20 goals twice for a reason. He's got some talent. He's got a scoring touch. And at 29 years old for a cheap ticket, sky's the limit. Why not? And then if that's your first line and you've got Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl, and Evander Kane as your second line, you're rolling out two units that can score and two units that can really cause some havoc for the opposition.
Even though he played 51 games last year, I think I want to say Dylan Holloway. I still think of him as a rookie, even though he's not.
Yeah,
And I've got some confidence that he can make an impact this year.
yeah, I don't mind that. For Holloway, I don't see the path to that top six role in Edmonton. I think if the Oilers weren't as
Oh, middle six for sure.
yeah, I know. I think the Oilers are too strong for him to have that logical path to it. I have kind of an interesting one for the Florida Panthers. You go first.
For Florida, it's
Yeah.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Why?
It is. It is no joke. No joke. I
Oliver
actually think he's going to be
Ekman-Larsson,
really good for them.
I think he ends the season as a healthy scratch.
All right. Well, want to bet $10 on it that he's a healthy scratch at the end of the year?
Yeah, sure. I think he gets
Okay.
health bombed before the season's over.
Okay, no. What's the criteria? So, like the last game of the season, he's a healthy scratch.
No, three has to be at least 3 games of him being healthy.
3 games in a row of him being a healthy scratch at any point in the season.
Okay, yeah, deal.
$10.
Yeah.
Virtual handshake. Good.
Yeah. Yeah. James, he's awful. He can't play hockey.
I think he's coming back to life. I think he's useful.
I think the easy answer here is Evan Rodriguez because he has the ability to play anywhere in the lineup. He can be a very effective bottom six forward. He can be on the first line with Barkov and Reinhardt or Barkov and Kachuk, or like if Verhaeghe and anybody, you know what I mean? Like he could be anything you need him to be.
He's the definition of Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, I'm going Grigory Denisenko. I've been high on this guy for a while.
Really?
I liked him a lot when he was in junior.
Are they ever going to let him play?
I think they're going to let him play. I think he's going to make the top 9 this year in the Florida Panthers organization.
I will believe it when I see it. Him playing more than a few games in a row is just a wild idea to me. He has all the talent in the world. I just can't picture him playing at all.
Yeah. 36 points in 56 games in the AHL last year. I think it's finally happening for Denisenko. I like him a lot. He's very talented. He's strong. He's not super tall, but he's built. And I don't know. Again, this is kind of like my Alexi Lafreniere thing with the Rangers, where I'm just gonna keep being like it's him until it actually is him. And yeah, why not? LA, I have 2, and I assume again this is the other one for me where I was gonna just pick the one that you didn't pick. So you go first.
No, you go first.
Okay, I'll go Brandt Clarke then, because I think with Drew Doughty on the kind of twilight of his, maybe not twilight of his career, but definitely the twilight of his, prime as a solid top 4 defenseman. I think Brandt Clarke finishes the season. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to say finishes the season. I think it takes less than 20 games for Brandt Clarke to be the number 1 defenseman in LA. This guy had an absolutely
Aiden, that's a sizzling take. Drew Doughty's still very good.
I know, but this guy in the OHL last year was gross. He had an unprecedentedly 23 goals in 31 games. This guy's a freaking defenseman. 61 points in 31 games. That is unreal for a 20.
It's only happening if Doughty gets injured.
I think Clarke beats Doughty early in the season. I love this guy a lot.
Okay, you're talking about unseating a 33-year-old Lock Hall of Fame defenseman who hasn't lost much of a step and put up 52 points in 81 games this past season and 31 points in 39 games the season before.
Okay, what's your definition of a number one?
Plays in all situations, dependent on in all situations, can be put on the ice when it matters most.
Okay, because
And he's at least one of your top two defensemen in minutes.
okay. Then maybe I rein it back a little bit. I think Doughty's going to play more. I think Clark will finish the season with more points. He'll finish the season on the first power play unit, and he'll finish the season as the more leaned on guy when they're down, right?
Well, you took Clark, so I have to take Dubois.
Yeah, and if you had taken Clark, I would have taken Dubois. So PLD
is one. Who's playing more minutes, Dubois or Danault?
It's complicated because you got Kopitar there too. I think
really complicated. I didn't say Kopitar because I think he plays more minutes than maybe both of them.
You know what? I think it's Dubois, and then I think the reason for that is Kopitar and Danault are too similar right now.
And they should play 7D and 7D and 11 forwards and rotate wingers for the and have three centers out. Those three guys should play 20 minutes each.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually hate that. Well, and Quinton Byfield has to be a winger.
Yep.
Like it has to happen. Or Dubois, one of the two.
Hey, we're spending too much time on LA. Next up.
Yeah, like I really want to see Byfield break out. But yeah, it's
Minnesota Wild. What do we got? I don't even know.
This is I don't want to say a hot take because
Patrick Maroon. That's my pick.
Okay, talk about Patrick Maroon.
He's won 3 cups, and everybody loves having him around, and he's gonna bring some mojo.
Okay, so for mine, Minnesota, my thinking here is Jared Spurgeon and Jonas Brodin, Alex Goligoski are all, I don't want to be sitting here saying that they're necessarily declining already, but they're on the back end of their careers. Kalen Addison is a guy that has already stepped in, and I think next up on that defense core is Brock Faber. Faber was a second rounder in 2020. Picked by LA, and he was the primary return when Minnesota traded Kevin Fiala to the Kings. University of Minnesota the last 3 seasons, he's put up respectable numbers. He's played well. He played in the 2022 Olympic Winter Games with the United States. 2 games in the regular season for Minnesota last year, at a 6-game playoff cameo. I think he ends up in the top 4 by the end of the season. I think he'll be quarterbacking one of the power play units. I like him for Minnesota. Again, maybe in a different year, he might be an outside Calder candidate. There's just too many strong players in that race this season. But regardless, he's my guy.
Yeah, I don't fault you for that one at all. Honestly, that was probably a smarter pick than Patrick Maroon, but I like the big rig.
So Montreal is next. What do you got?
I feel like there's a lot of options, but also not many options. Like, they have a lot of guys who could slot in, but likely won't. Like, my gut tells me to pick Alex Newhook because I feel like they're going to force feed him second line minutes.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm going with my gut. That's what I'm saying. I don't see like I don't think Reinbacher is going to make an impact if he plays games this year.
I probably don't see Reinbacher in there yet. Again, much like you did with Holloway, I'm thinking I'll go Slaykovsky because he didn't really have a rookie year last year.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I think him being on the second line with
him and Newhook probably play together.
Yeah, him, Newhook, and Josh Anderson or Brendan Gallagher on that second line. That's not bad.
Or Raphael Harvey-Pinard.
I think he's a 4th liner. I don't think he plays.
Yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, I think sort of cheating's like.
I think he's a sick 4th liner though.
I think outside chance that you see Caden Gooley make the team, maybe a little bit more than outside. Outside chance you see him make an impact in the top 4. I think he'll get games for sure.
I think he's definitely getting games.
Yeah. So what's after Montreal?
Nashville Predators, baby.
Well, I know what yours is, so I'm not going to pick him.
Mine is Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah,
That's
of
the
course.
thank you for listening. If
Yeah.
you listen to this podcast, you know he's one of my favorite players of all time. Thank you.
Yeah. I didn't pick him knowing you would. Luke Luke Evangelista is my guy. Second rounder in 2020 by Nashville. Crazy, crazy last season 2 years ago with the London Knights, his final season of junior. 41 points in 49 games with Milwaukee last year, had a 24 game cameo, 15 points in that time. I think he ends up getting definitely top 9 minutes, probably top 6 minutes on this Nashville Predators team. I think he's going to be good.
Well, yeah, I mean him and Tommy Novak, who would be my pick if he didn't play like 40 something games. Um, and Cody Glass all made crazy good impacts last year while some key forwards were either injured or traded. And yeah, I would have picked Tommy Novak. I am a huge Tommy Novak fan. I almost considered keeping him in my keeper league because I'm that confident in Tommy Novak. I made memes about him in my keeper league group chat. One of them was it was him next to Princess Leia, and it was because I was trying to get from fourth to third place so I could get my prize money back. And it said, "Help me, Tommy Novak. You're my only hope."
It's so
Yeah.
New Jersey. I'm not going to go to Foley because I think it needs to be Luke Hughes. Like, this is another one of those guys that stepped in last year, had a pretty strong impact in the regular season. He looked good in the games he played. Didn't play too much in the playoffs, but in the couple games he got at the end of the regular season, he looked good. This guy's going to get some points. 48 points in 39 games at the University of Michigan last year. That was after he scored 17 and 41 the year before. He's very good, and he will get at least second pair minutes, if not potentially first pair minutes on this Devils team. I have him in my top 5 of Calder candidacy.
I'm going Akira Schmid.
I don't
That's
mind
that's
that.
my pick because you took Luke Hughes and because I don't want to. I've I've taken too many vets. I've taken far too many vets, and I want to get a little bit more rookie centric as we round this out. And my gut told me to go with a full season of Timo Meyer, but that's cheating again.
Okay, I'm really interested in what your Islanders pick is going to be.
Hmm.
I have one, but there wasn't a plethora of options.
There isn't much because Lou just locked up all the boys forever.
Yeah, which was interesting to say the least. But
What's yours?
William Dufour, 21-year-old right winger, had a solid season with the Bridgeport Islanders last year. This is a guy last year in the Q, which was the year before last, 56 goals and 116 points in 66 games. He's got the skill. 21 goals and 48 points in 69 games with the Bridgeport Islanders. I'm looking at this forward core, and there's if you can get into the top 12, like honestly, James, this forward core, like Bo Horvat is a top 6 forward, and Matthew Barzal is a first line player. Other than that, you have a bunch of guys that could play anywhere for the season. You have a bunch of guys that could be first liners or fourth liners. So I think if Dufour ends up in the top 12, he could move up pretty quickly just because of the nature of that Islanders forward core. He's got skill. He's a hard worker. He's 6'2", 215 or something like that. Like he's got the NHL frame. He was a world junior player for Canada in 2022. I like him. I'll take him.
Okay. This is really thin, isn't it?
There's nobody.
Oh, I looked at them last night, just thinking like, maybe I'll find someone. And I was like, Holmstrom is only 22, but that's nothing. That's not anything. Maybe Carson Kuhlman gets 15 goals on their third line.
Maybe.
That's all I got for you, buddy.
Yeah, there's not a lot for the Rangers either. Like there's a few guys, more guys at least. I think Nick Bonino and Tyler Pitlick end up with fourth line roles, at least bottom 6 roles for both of them. I think Blake Wheeler probably is in that boat as well, but I think Wheeler, for me, the Wheeler effect is, can Capo Caco and Alexi Lafreniere really learn from him, right? Can he be the mentor to those wingers for them to take a step? And that's why I'm picking Wheeler.
I had a lot of thoughts. A lot of thoughts like, oh, can I pick this rookie to take a step? I picked it, sorry, this young player to take a step. Can I can I pick this vet who just popped in? And I think for the third year in a row, I'm gonna pick Lafreniere to break out.
Yeah, now
Is that cheating? Yes,
that is
totally.
definitely
100%.
cheating.
But the
I
thing
have
is,
I
what
always
else am I gonna pick? Am I gonna take Eric Gustafson? No.
I always have Lafreniere for my like I have a list of breakout candidates below my list of best player per team, and for Jersey it is Lafreniere, I think without a doubt.
For the
Um,
Rangers, you said Jersey.
no, sorry, yeah, for New York, and yeah, I'm hoping because I'm high on him. I really like him as a player. For Ottawa,
Oh, sorry, but if I have to actually follow the rules of the game we've created and pick a new player, it's Blake Wheeler. It's undoubtedly Blake Wheeler.
okay, Senators, I'm torn. There is the piece of me that's like it has to be Corpusalo just because that's the hole they
Hmm.
need filled. But I really like Ridley Greig.
I do too. I actually really enjoy his game.
Yeah, he didn't do too much in his 20 game cameo last year, but I think another year under his belt, a lot of AHL experience because he last year was his first year of pro. So
Hmm.
he played 20 games in the NHL with Ottawa, 2 goals, 9 points, 39 games with Belleville in the AHL, 39 games, 29 points. I think his second year as a pro, he'll take a step. I think he'll be a top 9 forward for Ottawa by the end of the season. I think he's going to knock either Kubalik or maybe Matthew Joseph down a couple pegs in that depth chart, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, Daily Faceoff already has him above Joseph and putting him on the third line.
That's bold. Matthew Joseph's a pretty good player.
He
Like
is a pretty good player.
Greig has
Um,
to really do
I,
something special to.
Ridley Greig was my choice too, so I'm going to pick Tarasenko because I think if his body is not falling apart, I think Tim Stützle could have him score 35 goals.
Did
Oh, Philly, I have a lock. I'm easy money.
I have an interesting one, I think. What were you
Can
gonna
I go
say?
first so you don't take mine?
Yeah, go.
Tyson Forrester, undoubtedly. Small sample size last year, but the guy produced just shy of a point per game. He's got a really solid frame. He's gonna have all the opportunity in the world this year. He's like Torts clearly liked him. Philly just didn't want to burn another year of his contract. He is ready to roll. Like this guy is going to come in and I think put up between 40 and 55 points this year.
I completely agree with you. Like that was my gut reaction too, was to say Forster. The one I'm really interested to see, because again, this was another guy, much like much like Grigory Denisenko. I put this Denisenko and Ryan Paling in the same category. I
Hmm.
just think the fit hasn't been there for Paling. He's 24 now. It's the now or never. And Philly's bad enough that he could move up that lineup.
He could,
I would bet on Forster before Paling, but since you said
especially because Couturier is reportedly ready to play this year.
yeah, it's going to be tough, but I think he's got the chance, probably more so to move up in the wing because Noah
Yeah.
Cates is a lock on that third line center. There's no moving him,
No,
and
no, he's very good.
he's superb. And then Morgan Frost and Sean Couturier are your 1-2s in either order. Um, so
God, Morgan Frost at two.
I like Morgan Frost.
Yeah, I do too. But you know how many times he's traumatized me by putting up 3 points in 2 games and then I pick him up in fantasy and then he gets nothing in 10 games and I drop him?
Yeah, he had a good year last year though. Like that was him and Owen Tippett both proved that they are top six forwards in the
They
NHL.
have a lot of wingers competing for ice time. They got Farabee, Tippett, um, Travis Konechny doesn't have to compete. He's already there.
Yeah,
Forrester, Cam Atkinson.
yeah.
Like that's four prospective top six wingers. I mean, sorry, five prospective top six wingers.
Pittsburgh, what do you got?
Pittsburgh, it has to be EK65. He is the most valuable asset incoming. But I'm not going to take him. Pittsburgh's bottom six has been a joke for the past couple years. Undoubtedly. There's no consistency to it. They put it in the blender, they shuffle guys in, shuffle guys out. Nola Chari is an unreal pickup for them. So is Matt Nieto. I'm taking Achari though.
I love Achari. I like Nieto. Rem Pitlick is good. Lars
Yeah.
Eller's good. We
Yeah.
might finally see a consistent Alexander Nylander in that lineup. I know that might be a little bit wishful
I think
thinking.
his game could mesh decent with Eller, but I'd like them to give him a shot in the top six.
Yeah, he's 25 years old. This was an eighth
Hmm.
overall pick. He had one season in Chicago where he looked like he was a player and then got hurt and COVID didn't help him. So yeah, we'll see with Nylander. Again, it's Carlson. If it's not Carlson, it's any one of those bottom six guys because I agree with you. That's big for Pittsburgh. What do you got for these San Jose Sharks? I think this is pretty obvious to me anyways.
I have wishful picking with the Sharks.
What do you got?
I really hope Philip Zadina does something because he told us after he was drafted that he was going to fill the net, and I'm still waiting. And I would love to see it. I think the guy brought some swagger before he was drafted. I think some injuries, some management decisions, maybe we don't know what happened behind closed doors, but stuff happened and it didn't work out in Detroit. And I think the guy had crazy talent, but it just hasn't come together. And he needs to bring in some new habits. And you look at their general manager, Mike Greer, and you look at some of the veterans that they have there, like Logan Couture, who just exudes professionalism. And I think you might be able to revive a Philip Zadina. Nice little reclamation project.
I have him as my breakout candidate for San Jose, but I think William Eklund's going to make a bigger impact.
Oh yeah, Eklund is sick.
Yeah, he's a very good player. I think he's a top six lock.
Yeah.
He's great. Like there's nothing wrong with his game. Like he's maybe it's that he doesn't play like he plays small. He isn't that small. He's 5'11", but he plays kind of small, but that's not
Right.
he'll by halfway through the season that'll be worked on, right? So
Totally.
yeah, I like him a lot. I completely agree with everything you said about Zadina though. I really liked him as a prospect and I think he has the potential here. Seattle,
Honestly, before we move on, Shakir Mukhamadullin might have been a decent pick as well.
yeah, again that was another guy that I looked at in the 2020 draft and I was hesitant on, but you can't deny the physical attributes the guy has. Okay, Seattle is interesting. There's two guys to me that stand out. What do you got?
I think it's the Shane Wright revenge tour. I
I
think
agree with
this
you.
guy is going to put up like 50 points, maybe 40. Probably 40. 40. I think 40 is better bet. I think he's going to start the year on like the third line, but an offensive third line because they have offensive middle six forwards. And then I think by the end of the year, he's going to be a second line forward.
I agree
I
with you.
I have confidence in Shaner. I really like the guy. I really want him to succeed. Maybe my want for him to succeed is blinding me, but I think he's ready. I think it's time. I think last year was a bit of a rush and he was playing like 4 minutes a night. So
Yeah, I think Shane Wright. I actually am probably a little bit higher on him than you are from the sounds of it. I think he starts as the second line center. I think he will be. I think out of camp. Like he's gonna have a
Yanni
bunch.
Gord's a bulldog, dude.
Well, yeah, but I like Gord on the third line with like a Bjorkstrand, right? Like I think because Seattle's top nine is so dynamic, you can like I think the first line, Jared McCann and Matthew Beniers are going to be there for sure. I think the
Yeah,
sky's the limit from there. I think Shane Wright and Andre Burakovsky make a sick pairing on that second line. That's the way I see it.
totally.
The other one I was going to say is Kyler Yamamoto, kind of in a similar vein to Wright, like the revenge tour aspect. He was all over the map in Edmonton, and then nobody wanted him. Like Detroit basically were paid Klim Kostin to take his contract and then didn't resign. Like, yeah, or bought him out. Yeah, they bought him out. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yamamoto. I think
Um,
he's
I do just want to just before we leave Seattle though, I do want to give quick props to Ty Cartier. This guy will likely not make this team, but he came in the playoffs and he was so much better than expected. And it that pains me to say as an Avalanche fan because he scored a couple big goals. But yeah, he probably won't make this team, but he probably deserves to be in the NHL. So yeah.
okay. So for St. Louis, there's both not an obvious one, but a lot of options. Are we saying Jakob Verana is a new player?
Uh Didn't he play like 15, 20 games with them?
He did play 20 games with them.
Okay, I think 20 games is a benchmark. We've taken too many vets.
Yeah. Okay. I was I was gonna go Joel Hofer because I think
Hmm.
Jordan Binnington sucks. So I think Joel Hofer will win the backup spot in camp and then win the starter spot by Christmas.
I think that's like one of the best storylines of our podcast is me being pro Bennington and you being against Bennington.
Just cannot stand him. Jake Neighbors, Kevin Hayes, both could have been in this conversation, but I had two names down. One of them was Hofer. That was my number one. I've been high on this guy forever. One injury to that defense core and a healthy Scott Perunovich could really step in and make a difference. Scott Perunovich has
Yeah,
had,
but one more injury to an unhealthy Scott Prunovich and he will never make a difference.
yeah, like this guy's been riddled with injuries since he left Minnesota Duluth.
Is he not 25 now?
He is 25 now. Like
Oh,
this is a guy that looked like a great prospect and just couldn't stay healthy. Point per game in the AHL over the last 2 seasons he played there, but he's only mustered 39 games in the AHL.
oh,
Like some eventually, man, eventually it's going to happen for him. St. Louis's defense is strong, but I think he I think he could supersede Scandella, and as soon as he's in, he automatically becomes probably their best puck moving defenseman.
it's kind of weird to me, but on paper, St. Louis isn't bad.
No, they're not. I have them on the outside looking in.
Yeah,
Um,
they're not as bad as I thought they were. But I am taking Jake Neighbors. I think with a really impressive camp and consistently impressing Craig Berube, I think he could take Brandon Saad's spot on the second line with Braden Shaw.
what do you have for
And
10?
if he's playing with Kevin Hayes instead, that's awesome too.
Yeah, no, I think he will play with Kevin Hayes actually.
Yeah.
What do you have for Tampa?
Interesting one. Very interesting one. See, Tampa's kind of odd to me. Like you look at that roster and it's kind of hard for certain guys to actually make an impact. Um, I want to say I have to confirm this very quickly before I actually say it. Okay. I think Alex Barré-Boulet actually ends up on this team and doesn't end up a waiver casualty. They reclaimed him on purpose. Okay? Like I think you put him one injury to this Tampa lineup. I think he's a very solid player, incredibly offensively talented. John Cooper clearly didn't trust him in multiple ways. It I it's really, really hard to say. At the same time, I don't feel like they really added much of anything really. In fact, usually they're just subtracting. So I yeah, I like Barré-Boulet, but they do most of their additions during the season. And that's kind of messing me up. Like I don't really feel like picking Connor Sheary. That's boring. I don't even know if Barré-Boulet is going to play, but I don't really want to pick Connor Sheary.
I think Sherry ends up on the second line, so that's probably my pick. But I love Barry Boulet. The guy's absolutely disgusting in the AHL.
Yep.
Puts up points like nobody's business in that league. He's crazy good. So
I also just noticed that Tampa Bay ended up with backup goaltender Jonas Johansson,
yeah.
who Colorado has had 3 times. I think Buffalo's had twice. He's always a waiver casualty. And you know what? I think I'm changing my pick to picking him so he has a nice place to stay. For the Leafs, I think I'm just going to take Matty Nyes. I think that's just my best bet because I would like to lean towards rookie. I do think his role is going to be diminished because they added Tyler Bertuzzi, and I think Tyler Bertuzzi will be the most effective ad. But Tyler Bertuzzi took a 1-year deal. He's coming to Toronto to play awesome and then get paid crazy on the open market next year. That's exactly what he's doing. Matty Nyes will be a part of the Maple Leafs going forward. So that's who I'm taking. Also, rest in peace, Rodion Amirov. I forgot to mention that. That's really
Man.
unfortunate. It's awful news for the hockey world, for him, for his family, for just everyone involved. I feel very sorry for that young man who had a lot of life left to live.
Yeah, I was gutted to hear that. Like this is a guy you could tell when you watched him play was just so full of energy and so happy to be on the ice. And it just, yeah, that's very sad news. Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's heartbreaking. As far as Toronto's roster this year goes, I might be in the minority. I have Matthew Nyes not playing a top six role. He's obviously the rookie. I think both Tyler Bertuzzi. I love Max Domi, man. I think Max Domi ends up in that top six.
Who's in charge of your third line?
I love David Kampf. I
Okay.
love David Kampf, and I think it ends up
David
being
Camp gonna run the offensive portion of your third line as well?
Nyes, Kampf, Yarncroke is perfect. I love that as a third line.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I think that's
I think I want Domi there on that line to add more spark to it, but
for the Vancouver Canucks. I don't really see them bringing in like a rookie this year. Like Nils Amon was kind of like a weird, didn't expect him to make it, then he did guy last year. Philip Hronek feels like cheating because he was an in
I
season.
don't think he's cheating. I'll give you the pass on that one.
Yeah, well, it's Hronek or Susie. Like it doesn't. It's you're. I think you're splitting hairs between the two of them. They both play different roles, but they're both going to be top four defensemen in Vancouver. The Canucks obviously needed defensive help. Ian Cole, Philip Hronek, Carson Susie. I think we do finally see Christian Wolanin into that top six. Unfortunately, I think the Jack Rathbone ship has sailed in Vancouver. I think he needs a different scenario. I think there's a version of Jack Rathbone that goes somewhere else and excels, and I kind of just want that for him. But it's been a pretty tumultuous time for him since he left Harvard for the Canucks organization. So I do kind of hope he gets a trade. Vancouver gets a mid-round pick, and he can find a spot that he'll excel. But yeah, for me, it's Susie or Hronek. It doesn't really matter. I'll probably say Hronek because he's got more two-way upside than Susie.
Yeah, I do really look back to seeing how useful Ian Cole was in Colorado and Pittsburgh. And he is a steadying presence on your bottom pair. Like he's a very useful guy to have around.
Yeah, nothing wrong.
But I'm gonna take Suter. I'm gonna take Pius Suter.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't see any rookies really jumping in. And honestly, I mean, just like my one Canucks note, I I I am no longer excited about Vasily Podkolzin or Niels Höglander. I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, they have to really show something. They're on their last chances.
Yeah, they've gone from
Other
being high value prospects to like a flip for not much if you move them.
the other one for Vancouver, if Demko gets hurt again, Artur Silovs, I think, is ready.
Yeah.
He'll be the backup this year. If Demko wasn't there, like I picked Hofer because I think he'll beat out Bennington. I don't think Silovs is going to beat out Demko, but if Demko gets hurt, he could really prove himself this year. Who do you have for Vegas? Because this is kind of a.
This is a tough one, hey?
I think I have a hot take. But you go. Unless you want me to go.
The thing is, I don't really see like new faces really cracking this roster. They had so much depth that they already had all of these guys. I think Paul Cotter is a really useful player. And I think looking at their depth right now, I think he will continue to be useful. I really like Brett Howden as well. I didn't really care for him before, but like he's already on that team. Like these guys are all already on that team.
Howden's not new. Howden was my breakout candidate.
Like no one feels new to me.
Okay, and we're obviously not like reporting anything here. We also like I do feel obliged to mention that picking a breakout candidate or somebody new that's going to make an impact off that 2018 World Junior roster is still risky. And Brett Howden is one of those guys. So avoiding Howden. Okay, so now here's the thing. Howden, for that reason, is one of a few guys that maybe doesn't finish the season on this forward core because you have some of the most injury-prone players in the NHL and or currently hurt players like Mark Stone, Jack Eichel, right? Like these guys have histories. So I think Vegas, again, if the unfortunate happens to those guys and you have some injury problems, I think first guy up from the Henderson Silver Knights is University of Michigan product Brendan Brisson. He was their 29th pick in the 2020 NHL draft. Very solid first. Pardon? Brisson. Very solid first full season. with Henderson, 18 goals, 37 points, 58 games. Had a great second year, University of Michigan, 21 goals and 42 in 38 games. He's an American forward, 5'11", 179. He plays like he's got a lot to prove. And I think we see him in the NHL. I don't think if everybody stays healthy, he'll play more than, maybe a dozen games, but I like him. I think if anybody is going to jump, it's him.
Interesting. Okay. I didn't really think to pick him because I didn't think of him cracking the team. I have zero worries about Jack Eichel's health whatsoever. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But Stone, yeah, so obviously continually worried. The guy is a warrior and has put his body on the line at every possible turn. Yeah, I really like your pick. I hope he gets an opportunity because he's a very talented player.
Washington.
Ooh, am I allowed to pick Rasmus Sandin? I
Yeah,
don't think I
it's
am.
late season.
I don't think I'm allowed. I'm not going to give myself that.
Yeah.
I give me a full season of third line Hendrix Lapierre.
That's not a bad pick. That is not a bad pick at all. I liked Hendrix Lapierre a lot. It, yeah, I just that's center depth for Washington. Like if they trade Kuznetsov, it opens up a bit. But isn't Nicholas Backstrom still there?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
got Dylan Strom, and
Mm-hmm.
they like Nick Dowd, right? Like I just Lapierre, and yeah, Lapierre can play the wing, but he's a centerman, and yeah, I don't know. I think Washington is kind of with Lapierre and McMichael the same way that we're talking about Detroit being with Edvinsson, where it's too many average guys clogging up the pipeline for them to come up, right? Like
It pains me to call Nicholas Backstrom average, but he is post hip resurfacing, so like he's
yeah,
not what
well,
he used to be.
and even TJ Oshie and Anthony Mantha, like those are guys
TJ
that
Oshie's still a really solid player.
yeah, but those are guys that aren't what they used to be. And so I think on the defense side, I think Joel Edmondson could grow into being John Carlson's partner. Martin
Yeah, totally.
Fehervari was there last year, but I think it could be Edmondson this year. He's a solid player. He's played good hockey everywhere he's gone. Last one's the Winnipeg Jets. Again, this is kind of one where I was probably just going to take the guy you didn't take.
You can go first. You could pick multiple guys, and I probably won't be who I'm picking.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think Gabe Vilardi has a lot in him. This is a guy that I was really high on going into his draft year and then obviously got hurt. Um, Ended up falling to 11th overall. LA took him. And finally, he broke out last year. I think he's got another step to take. I think we see 30-goal Gabe Vilardi playing with Cole Perfetti or Nikolai.
Cool. Yeah, I got no issue with that. Was Rasmus Kupari on your radar?
Totally. I've been super high on him as well. Like, I love this guy. And if you
Cool,
want,
because that's not who I'm picking either.
oh, is it I follow or is it
No,
what do you got?
no, I have the Hail Mary that Brad Lambert makes the team out of camp.
Is
And
it
because
Lambert?
they're not going to play him in a bottom six role.
I've heard Lambert and Lambert.
Lambert is the one I've heard the most. Lambert was what I said when I was just playing NHL franchise mode early on, and he was insane.
Yeah, I thought about him. He did not adjust to North American Pro very well when he played in the AHL last year, right? So that's what scared me off of him. I was very high on him when he was 16, and then his draft year he struggled.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted Vancouver to take him 15th overall that year just as a bet. He ended up falling all the way to 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the pick. I just don't.
The reason that I edge this way is because, dude, Mark Scheifele could get traded by the day training camp opens up.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Nikolai Ehlers is possibly on the trading block. Like I don't. Yeah, like there could be a spot open for him. It could happen.
And that was my thinking towards Kupari, and I did end up saying Velarde just because I think the impact will be greater. But yeah,
because Velarde's already a lock at probably being at the very least like third line and power play, very least.
He'll be on the second line. I don't think.
Yeah, totally. I mean, what if their coach doesn't like him though?
Yeah, yeah. So we'll take a quick break and then we'll be back. I know this is a long episode, but it's been a while. We'll take a quick break and then we'll be back. The last time we did an episode, James said we both have to bring a movie to talk about. So
Yep.
we'll do that. Now, I've watched like in this month, I've watched maybe like a dozen movies worthy of bringing. So I have to think about which one.
Yep.
And
Same.
then, but don't go anywhere.
All right. Well, as Aiden said, I wanted to kind of spice this up a little bit. You know, Aiden and I are both really big movie guys. Spend a lot of time watching good movies, good shows. And I mean, like, what better way to spend your evening when we have so much good entertainment out there? And I last episode, as you said, I said I want to bring a couple movies to the table, one each every episode, just something we've watched, because undoubtedly we have each watched a movie in the span of a week. That is pretty much something that will happen without fail. So, yeah, do you want to take us away with your pick?
I think mine has to be Oppenheimer. It's the best one I've seen. Like I've seen a lot in this month, but Oppenheimer's far and away, I think, the best one. I loved it. Christopher Nolan movies are often superb, and this is no different. I've always been a kind of a history nerd, so the World War II history aspect of it I enjoyed, and yeah, I overall it's a very solid 9 out of 10, and for me that's high praise. I don't hand that out lightly.
I'm taking a different route, and partly because I haven't seen Oppenheimer, and if I had, which I do plan to see it this coming Saturday, if I had seen it, it likely would have been my pick too, which would have made this all too boring. But you know, we're in an age now where the slapstick classic comedy is very hard to find. And this one didn't quite hit that level, but I was hopeful it would. It was still a really enjoyable watch. I'm bringing Jennifer Lawrence No Hard Feelings to the mix. It came out, I don't know, a couple months back. And I bought it on Apple TV just because I really wanted to watch it, just because it wasn't available for rent yet. They suckered me into $25, but whatever, it was worth it. Um, it's the kind of thing where I don't know if you remember, but all those like 2000s and 2010s slapstick raunchy comedies, they all like they would grab you with something hilarious right away and they would carry it all the way through, and then you get your couple heartfelt moments in the mix somewhere. And that's kind of what you love, that like that mix all together. That's what makes it memorable. You were amused, you had a couple of moments that just made you smile, and then you come back to it going, yeah, this has good rewatch value. And when I finished this movie, it had good rewatch value. I thought, you know what? I'd be down to show this movie to one of my friends and watch it again. I will say my one knock on it is when it takes the turn to, okay, let's have some like mild, heartfelt character development. It 180s too quick. That's really the only downside to it. But in the end, it does a couple things that make you laugh towards the end of the movie again, and it that part specifically gives it good rewatch value for me. I would recommend it to any of my friends looking for a good comedy. It is a mild ripoff of Failure to Launch, but in a more raunchy way, and that's okay. I'm totally all right with that. I do want to see more of Jennifer Lawrence in comedy and less serious roles after that.
Haven't seen it, but I'll put it on the list.
Yeah, definitely. It's like a good watch with the girlfriend or sitting down with your buddies, end of the night kind of thing. Like, yeah, don't go into it like I want to watch something critical and amazing and a good character study. Just a fun watch. And I think that's a good contrast to Oppenheimer. Like we gave you the awesome like historical piece, and then we're giving you the just nice and easy watch. I will say the one movie I'm looking forward to the most right now is the Ridley Scott Joaquin Phoenix Napoleon movie that's coming out.
That'll be intriguing.
Yeah, I like a really good like war-filled period piece. Like I look back to like you look back to like period pieces that we got in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, like we got Gladiator. We got Troy. We got like the Russell Crowe Robin Hood. Stuff like that. Like that just gets my gears turning. But one little extra tidbit, if I'm going to recommend any TV show right now, at this exact moment, I recommend people check out Winning Time. That's the Showtime Lakers dynasty. It's like a kind of just a story about the rise of that. Like you got Adrian Brody, Jason Segel. Like it's a really quality show that's both entertaining and intriguing. Any sports fan or non-sports fan, I don't even really care for basketball all that much, but this show is awesome. And if you got Crave, HBO Max, whatever it is, it's definitely worth the watch. I think that's all we got. I think that's the episode. I think that's our comeback episode.
Well, we got 3 questions if you want to answer them.
Let's take one, and no, you know what? Let's take all three. Screw it. We got time.
Well, one of them's kind of a long one. I'll put this one off. So one of
Okay.
them,
Deal.
create your dream player, which is like best of each trait. So we'll do that one next time. So if you submitted that one, come back around to the next episode. We'll have something prepared.
Deal.
Hockey question and then a personal question. Hockey question is, what's the fair contract for William Nylander? What do you think?
In today's NHL, probably an 8x9.
That's probably what I was going to say. Just a shade below a Kirill Kaprizov, right?
Yeah, less than Aho.
Yeah. No, I think that's an easy answer, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And then biggest interest outside of sports, both of us. What do you think? What's yours? Hockey cards are inside sports, so
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Okay, I'm gonna go with a stuck at home one, and I'm gonna go with an out in the world one. Okay, so like when I'm stuck at home, I really like, and it's been hard to find one. I'm hoping I get it soon with an upcoming game. It's I really like to play like a great single player video game that's just an incredibly deep RPG that's gonna suck me in for like 120 hours. Like looking back in my life, that's like Fallout 3, Elder Scrolls, stuff like that. And coming out soon is Starfield, and that is going to get me going. It's like auto-generating planets for you. Like that is, and it has story generating within those planets. It's just, oh, it's nuts. Just the exploration and the do whatever you want, be your own person within this universe. That gets my gears turning. I'm stoked about that. And then the other one is I've kind of gotten the I've gotten the itch to travel recently, but one thing I always do is I go to a lot of music festivals. I love music festivals. Just getting together with some of your close friends, going to see some good music, spending a weekend together. That's the peak of awesome for me in terms of enjoying things. I most recently went to a festival called Il Sonic in Montreal a couple weeks back or a week ago, and I saw Martin Garrix. He was awesome. Yeah, Montreal's great. First time ever being there. But yeah, I like to hop around for music festivals. That's definitely probably my biggest interest and thing I look forward to yearly.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I love being outside, specifically lakes, beaches, right? I love swimming. So
I knew this is where you were going.
yeah, anytime anytime I have the opportunity to go swimming outdoors, that's what I will do. But number one would have to be, I'm a huge music guy, and that has translated into being a big vinyl record collector. In my office, like my Bulldog's office, I have a record player and a turntable in there, and I'll bring some of my records from home. But at home, I have like a receiver and a turntable and a shelf with like 400 records on it, and it soaks up most of my time and disposable income. Yeah, I love it. The records would be my number one.
I'm going to when I finally track it down, there's it's like a kind of like folky electronic album that I really want on vinyl because like listening to it, I know how crisp it would sound on vinyl. When I find it, I'll grab 2 copies, and that's gonna end up being your Christmas present.
Got it. Okay, deal. All right, I think now that's the episode.
I think that's it. Well, thank you all for listening. We plan on being back at a much more regular basis. This one was honestly a lot of fun and reminded me how great it is to do this with one of my best friends. And I just, yeah, I'm stoked to sit here and talk to you guys, however many of you that there are, once a week-ish for as long as we can keep going. And so without further ado, unless I have more comment from my co-host, let's roll that outro. Cheers, guys.